So for me, Death's Door has just been that game. Like, that game that really got you into a certain style of gaming. I'm Nima. I'm going to talk about Death's Door. So, this game has been out for a while now. If you've had an Xbox, then you've played it, or maybe you haven't had a chance to get around to it. But for those of us who game on the Switch quite a bit, we just received Death's Door on the Nintendo Switch, and in this game, you play as a crow, and your job is to go around and collect souls. Now, the everyday life of a soul reaping crow is to collect souls and close doors. The problem with this is you end up facing a rather stubborn door, if you will, and so you have to collect these large souls. And no one else has been able to do it, so you're tasked with the job. And eventually, you figure out you have to take down 3 main bosses with giant souls and handle the doors. Now, as gloom and doom as this whole thing it's actually quite lighthearted and pretty funny. I enjoy a lot of the writing in this game. Like, it makes me think of an old show called Dead Like Me, where the main character was a reaper, but it was a comedy. And there's many times in this game where I found myself laughing. Now, the gameplay of it, I know that kind of makes a lot of people nervous because it kind of looks like a roguelike, and for some people, that challenge is just too much and they don't like roguelikes. But let me tell you, it's not a roguelike. In roguelikes, you can't save. In this game, you can save pretty much any time you want. And with that in mind, I'd say a lot of people are also comparing it to The Legend of Zelda. I wouldn't do that either, only because I feel like The Legend of Zelda is a little bit more easy. To be honest, you start off kind of feeling weak in The Legend of Zelda games, and then you get stronger. And this game, there's just kind of a baseline. Like, you start off kind of weak, or sort of, and you kind of stay that way. Like, you don't gain much power throughout the game. Your power is your knowledge and knowing what enemies are gonna do. So with that in mind, you do die a lot. Like, I would compare this game sort of to like a Legend of Zelda meets a roguelike meets a Dark Souls. But without committing to either one of those platforms, it actually kind of becomes its own thing, even though it follows this like tried and true gameplay mechanic, if you will. Throughout the game, you do have the ability to get access to like different weapons, to a few more like magic abilities, and even increase your own life and magic. Now, those are kind of more difficult to find because they're found in shrines, which are really, really hidden well in the game. Like, I personally am almost done with the game, and I have yet to find all of them. And I've taken a significant amount of time looking for them. As for like the puzzles and some of that stuff in the game, it's actually pretty easy. Like, I haven't had a part where I've needed a walkthrough or needed to, take more than maybe 10 or 15 minutes to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And the game kind of pushes you in that realm. Like, it's not, this like kind of side scrolling linear style game, but at the same time, it is also linear. Like, there is only one path, but you're free to explore, and you'll end up going on the path that they want you to be on, really without you even knowing it, which I think is kind of cool, because it gives the illusion that you can explore and do more, and you definitely can. Like, there's stuff to find, but I'm saying as far as pushing the story along, going, getting what you need to get done. But yeah, you have the freedom to explore and fight enemies multiple times to keep building up souls so you can trade them in and upgrade your power. Because you can also, like I said, upgrade your strength, your dexterity, your haste, how many arrows or magic uses you have. You can upgrade all of that, and you can literally sit there and just farm souls and go back and make your crow really strong. Or I should say the appearance of being strong. And I'll get to that later. As for the graphics of it, it looks really good. I haven't compared it to the Xbox version, which I'm sure the Xbox version looks great. But I wasn't really let down with the Switch at all. In fact, I was kind of in awe of just how clear everything is. And I will say I played with the Nintendo Switch OLED, but I still think even on a regular Nintendo Switch, this game still is going to look really, really good. There's really no confusion about what an item is. There's no glitching. This game just runs really, really well and looks really, really well. Now, as for the sound, I would say this might be a low point for some people, and for me, I would say it's just kind of in the middle. Like, it's not great, but it's not bad either. A lot of it is like piano music. It's just kind of like chill, sit back, relax kind of music, even though you're fighting through hordes of enemies and trying not to die. Like, my audio experience with this game is just this like really soft, nice piano music with me just cursing and saying some of the worst things that have come out of my mouth as I've died multiple times at like a boss or in a gate type situation. Which that is another thing, by the way, that I forgot to mention in the gameplay. Is there are these gates that pop up quite often that you have to kind of do like a mini boss trial thing, and that's how you go further in a lot of the dungeons. But ultimately, I would say like something about this game, and I don't even know what it is, has made me a huge fan of this style of game. Like, this isn't my type of game. Um, I often reference how great Hades is, but I'm not good at it and didn't really play a lot of it. I just respected what it was, and when I played it, I felt this control. I saw the graphics. I saw like the good things about it, but I just know I suck, and so I wasn't gonna enjoy my time with Hades. As with Death's Door, it's like it gives you a fighting chance. Like, this is a game that I'm definitely gonna beat, and I think it's maybe because it borrows like the roguelike aspects, but also keeps in like the old school action adventure of being able to save whenever you want. And it kind of marries those two in like this perfect form that comes out to be a really fun, great game that I can honestly, I just can't say enough good things about it. And I couldn't tell enough people they need to get it and to check it out because it is like that good. The thing is, I will say, ultimately, it's one of those games that you can just pick up and play whenever you want. You don't need a long designated amount of time, even though, to be honest, every time I went through it, I end up playing like way longer than I need to. Like, if I was going to plan to have just like an hour long session, I'm usually playing for like 2 hours because this is also one of those games that you just get that like, oh, just one more try. Oh, just a little bit more. I can do more. I can figure this out. Like, that comes to play a lot with this game. So what would I fix? What would I change about this game? So one of the things that I've kind of alluded to throughout my review of this game is the appearance of being strong. The comparison of Legend of Zelda, where you start weak and then you gain more powers and weapons, and you gain more hearts, and yeah, like, you definitely get more weapons if you choose to find them in Death's Door, and you can get more vitality, and you get more abilities, but you don't ever really feel stronger. And I kind of wish that they kind of expanded on that a little bit, only because you don't really see much growth in your character. Like, you're doing a lot of these things to unlock, certain items or abilities, but at the end of the day, when you decide to get like more strength or more dexterity, can you feel it? Not really. Like, slightly, like maybe, but that's only if like you squint and turn your head, you might see it a little bit, but you really don't feel stronger. And I kind of think that that's an area where they could improve on. I understand, like, with this kind of game, it's supposed to be difficult, so they don't want to give you everything all at once, but at the same time, you do miss, like, a character progression. Like, you really do feel like the same crow that you start the game as is the same crow that you can beat the game as. And, yeah, like a Legend of Zelda or something like that, yeah, like in Breath of the Wild, you can go to the ending, but there's a good chance you are going to get your butt kicked. As where this, not really. Like, again, your power is all knowledge, which is a good thing and sort of a bad thing, especially if you're dedicating, 8 to 10 hours to a game and you want to feel that character progression. So, I don't know, that's about the only thing that I would change. But at the same time, I keep going back to the fact that, like, some of these games, like comparing it to Legend of Zelda, which I really shouldn't, by the way, but if I'm going to, I mean, I just beat Ocarina of Time at like 25, 30 hours, and this game is like 8 hours. So how much progression can you really have in that short amount of time? I don't know. But I would like to see in the sequel maybe a little bit more content, like maybe a 20-hour story, and then some true progression that we can see. But that's honestly about all I would change there. Anyway, that's my feelings on it. I'm curious if you guys have picked it up or what your thoughts are. If you're gonna get it, I definitely recommend it if you haven't. And for $20, like, this is such a great deal. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I appreciate you. Bye bye.